It's the Travel Agency Near podcast. I'm your host, Rachel K with elevatewithrachelk.com. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for coming back every day. We're near the end of quarter one, Q1. And if you've been listening every day and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Because this is like 3 months now. Just hit the subscribe button. It's fine. It's fine. Although you will get daily notifications for the rest of the year. I get it. Okay, so yesterday's episode was how to become the authority. We had to make this into a two-parter. This is not part of my script. So today is day 88, how to become the authority continued. Actually learning the lessons, because you do have to take time to study. We touched on kind of like the sacrifices you should be making as an entrepreneur. You're going to have to give up some things. Like, are you trading entertainment for continued education and learning? Which you can get a lot of learning for free, folks, like this podcast. Okay, now we're going to talk about parroting information versus actual lessons. I want you to understand the difference because this is going to further help you understand when you are truly releasing emotions tied to challenges you face as an entrepreneur. You can apply this to your personal life. I don't care, but it's fine. So I want to say first and foremost, we consume so much and yet do so little. At the time of recording this, I am just going to touch on my faith a little bit. I'm reverting to Catholicism, and so this year is the first year that I will be actively participating in Lent and Catholics during the Lenten season, which goes from Ash Wednesday, the day after Mardi Gras, through Easter Sunday. We have to give up something that we struggle with. And one of my things that I'm struggling with is consuming too much content on my phone. So I'm not saying I'm so much better than you. No, we all consume too much and we do so little. We'll see how it goes for me. But I want you to understand that. And so that when you are just consuming and not doing, you kind of you can get all this information. But if you don't sit with it and be like, okay, can this really help me, and learn how to discern? Because if you can learn how to discern, then you get really, really good at it, and you learn how to step into your authority, and you understand these are the types of leadership that I resonate with at this stage of my life. Decision making is so much faster. You can count down from 5 and say yes or no, because you know exactly whether or not some kind of investment or client aligns with you. And we do consume too much. So parroting happens when you oh, I saw this thing once for 5 seconds and I kind of remember it, but you don't actually practice it. So it's let's talk about just short form video content. And because that's my problem, short form video content, and maybe I like to do things with exercise because I feel like everyone's like, I'm thinking about exercising, but I'm not going to actually do it. Or maybe I will. So someone's like, oh, you need to build your upper back and fix your posture. And you watch this 90-second video. They're like, just do these simple exercises, I don't know, 2 million times a day. And then your posture will be fixed. You're going to probably watch that because you work a desk job. If you're a travel advisor, you are doing a lot of sitting, and even you might get tired and just not have good posture. And then just the whole, if you are on your phone a lot, you get tech neck or text neck. So that affects your posture. So you consume that content. You might save it and be like, I'm totally doing this after I finish doom scrolling. That's my problem. Oh, I need this for later. Then you never look at it again. And then you kind of have an idea of oh, I should be doing this, but you aren't actually doing the exercises. It's the same thing in your business. When you're reading any books about business or marketing or finances or operations, when you're taking any courses related to business or travel training, you might just be consuming too much. And that's another thing I'd like to argue. I feel like all these webinars that we're invited to is not giving you your authority, if you're feeling pressured, and like fam trips and all kinds of things. If it works for your business, do it. But if it doesn't, don't do it. Okay. So when you do get a course or go on a fam or do a webinar, ask yourself, how can this lesson be applied to my business? When you are reading a book, because I know I suggest a lot of books. I'm like, go get this book, go get this book. When you are reading these different books, how can this be applied to my business? Maybe even to your life. And this is like the foundation of critical thinking that hasn't really been taught for the last 20 years. So, any kind of content you consume, eventually you should be able, how can this be applied to my business or my life? When you see on the news, excuse me, oh, Bill HR 725, I don't know. The Senate is fighting. I clearly don't watch the news or care. How is this going to affect your life or your business? And you really want to be careful, especially with the news, if they're like, it's going to ruin your life. Go storm the Capitol or whatever the heck. You need to be very, very cautious in that situation. And guess what? All bills are available to read online. The big, beautiful bill I didn't read because it was like 11,000 pages. And I was like, yeah. So, but other bills I have read when it's like a major piece of legislation. And then I would sit and think, how does this apply to my life? How is this going to affect my business? How is this going to affect my children? Not that I can really do anything about it if they pass it, just preparing myself. All right. It's easier to expect somebody else to be what you need. And it's a lot easier if someone is manipulating and to sit into thinking that they are what you need to just parrot what they say instead of really sitting and thinking like, is this actually going to help me? Or are they just causing fear? Are they causing stress? And then they do something nice and that makes me want to give them money because it's psychological manipulation. It's not good. Anyway, I'm not going to expand on that any further. But it's a lot easier to expect somebody else to meet your needs than it is for you to meet your own needs in personal life, in business. So there's a difference also, parroting versus applying the lessons. Parroting is just hearing. The lessons application is actually doing. And like I said before, you save that exercise video and you're like, this is going to change my life tomorrow. And then you don't even go back to your saved videos to look at it. You're just like, and that's gone. So you forget. But if you take that information and you're like, how can I apply this to my daily life or my business? That's when you are making the lesson because you're going to stumble. Even if someone's like, here's the exact steps, you're still going to stumble. And you have to be able to understand why you are stumbling and what you can do to fix that problem. Okay. Instead of binging on stuff, why not study where you're lacking in your business? So instead of like doom scrolling, open up and watch like a full 45-minute podcast episode or hour-long podcast episode regarding business or finance or marketing, not travel advisor stuff. This is a business. A business is a business is a business. It doesn't matter when you are struggling with some aspect of the business. It does not matter who you seek out for help as long as they know how to run a business. There's no special magic formula for travel advisors. They're just slightly different analytics to consider, but it's all the same principles. So instead of like doom scrolling, why not put on a full episode of like Diary of a CEO? Or I really like Lewis Howes too occasionally. There's so many good podcasters out there that will have guests on that are like dropping nuggets of how to run your business, your finances, your marketing, communication, mindset, all those things. So you could also read a book. Maybe you watch a little 5-minute video of someone and they're like, I have this book. And then you can look at reviews of the book, see if it's worth investing in. Books are not very expensive unless you're like, I need the super special hardback signed edition. I personally like the book, not the Kindle version. I don't like audiobooks as I podcast. I like podcasts. I don't like audiobooks. But why not just swap one of those things? Why not, if you have a hard time focusing, something that works for me, you could try it. I will open up YouTube and I will put on healing music for plants, specifically plants. I don't know why it works for me. Not music for focus, just healing music for plants. And it's like a specific megahertz or whatever energy thing. And they'll have like an 8-hour video. And I used to just put that on. Sometimes now I will just put on any kind of music because I need noise to really focus. That's just how I am. But you could do something like that rather than having Facebook open with little notifications dinging because someone's commenting in a group about the state of, like, a travel advisor group talking about politics. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're here to build businesses, not talk about our own personal beliefs. That's just me. I don't like it when there's like, you don't need to be political. You don't need to be like, this is my view. You need to, I don't know, like, let's get into a fight online because that's just going to cause you further stress and distract you from actually getting shit done in your business, honestly. Who does that? Anyway, get to work, people. All right, so where do you start? You can start at any area that you lack. I'm not saying, okay, well, you have to start with exactly this process. Any area you lack. And if you're not comfortable with doing it in your business, maybe a little part of yourself that's lacking, like an aspect of your personal life, start really small. I'm a big fan of the baby steps and starting small to develop these habits and really make impactful changes in how you think, how you move, how you live. I think that's a book, actually. Understand that book has nothing to do with mindset. It kind of does, but it's like more for people with hypermobility and connective tissue disorders. So don't go buy that book unless you have a connective tissue disorder and you're hypermobile. Understand that the fear, sit and think about the fear, the actual fear that is holding you back, because fear can take form, shape, many different shapes and forms. You can meditate or pray, listen to your heart, and you need to believe it, speak it, be it. If you can believe it, but you're not quite ready to speak it or be it, you still need to do some work on it. So until you can believe it, speak it, and be it, that's something you should continue to work on. Does that make sense? So maybe you realize, okay, this isn't a small thing. It's actually probably a pretty big thing. I learned I am an emotional eater. I eat my feelings. It's fine. It sounds like it starts small. And I had to think about like why this started and how this isn't who I am. This is just something ingrained in me. And my brain is so used to it because I've been doing it for 30, 40 years. I don't know how long I've been doing it. But I remember probably about 3 years ago, I was like, oh, wow, I really am an emotional eater. When I'm stressed, I'm just like, give me all the food. And it doesn't even matter what food it is. It's just like, I need to shove this food on top of my feelings. And so anytime after I realized, believed it, right? And then I spoke out loud / journaled. I think I did both. I think I told people in my life, like, I just realized I'm an emotional eater. I had to really focus on those times when I was very stressed out. And I would just like hypnotically go to the refrigerator and be like, what can I eat? Or the pantry. And I would have to stop myself once I realized I'm an emotional eater. I'd have to stop and ask myself, am I actually hungry? Am I simply dehydrated? Or am I trying to eat my feelings? What just happened in the last 30 minutes? Was it was it stressful to me? And I'm not even realizing it. And I'd have to stop and then discern and decide like which one it was before choosing to eat or not to eat or just get some water or whatever. I still catch myself doing it. So I'm not saying like I don't do it nearly as often anymore. It's probably once every 6 weeks or so. I'll just be like, I'm just going to and I'll allow myself like, okay, feel your feelings first. And if you still want something after that and you've released your feelings, then you can get something. Because for me, also, I'm a woman. It's probably almost always hormonal as well. So, and you can do this in, like I said, in any area of your personal or professional life. Believe it, speak it, be it. I hope this episode was helpful for you. I feel like the sun's in my eyes. It's fine. Um, that was day 88, and now all my notes are thrown off. So I'm a day off. It's fine. So I might say tomorrow's day 88 too. Anyway, thank you for listening today. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.